host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome in to another edition of the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 25 or so. It is Thursday, June 26th, 2025. And last night, we officially found out who the first pick was in the NBA draft. Yes, I know that's the NFL draft sounder, but we're working with the technology that we have. So we are going to take you through the first round of the NBA draft, talk to you about some of the trades, give you some statistics, and then there is a second round tonight, which could be equally as important for some teams, especially for their depth. Before we get into it, we remind the people to get involved on the show, youtube.com/12OZ Sports, or on X, and that's x.com/12OZ Sports or x.com/Coach Romo24. Coach Romo_Romo24 is the social media handle for all the sites. And in terms of the audio, if you missed any part of the show, or as you should be doing, share the show with a friend, just go to the Rome Show podcast. That is wherever you listen to podcasts. There was no surprise last night when the first pick in the draft was said to be on the clock, and that was the Dallas Mavericks. And unless, as we said on the show yesterday, a Wednesday show, get it wherever you get your podcast, we talked about how there would be no other option than to fire your general manager if you had the first overall pick in this draft and you did not take the forward from Duke, Cooper Flagg. And that's exactly what the Dallas Mavericks did last night. The first overall pick from Duke, presumably one of the easiest first overall picks in NBA history on paper. But as we've discussed a lot on this show, and as the story has gone over the course of any sport, any year, at any point in history, just because you are drafted high, just because a team values you as a top overall pick, or just in general, just because a team drafts you in a solid location means absolutely nothing. But in this case, with Cooper Flagg, first overall, and the Dallas Mavericks, it made too much sense. Besides the fact that he was the best player in college basketball last season, okay? ACC Player of the Year, Wooden Award winner. He has lived up to the hype over the last 2+ years that his name has really been on the map. He's always been on the map in basketball circles, but for the general population, the me's of the world that might not watch the prospect in high school that's only going to go to college for 1 year, but that is elite at basketball, that has been Cooper Flagg. I mean, this has been him since his freshman year of high school. But much like the LeBron James situation 20-some years ago in his senior year of high school, there was so much hype around this player that since Flagg has been a senior, it feels like we've been covering him as if he's the best player in the country. And he has been. And so now he's rewarded with being drafted first overall. And on top of that, he doesn't have to get the Zion Williamson treatment. He doesn't have to do Cade Cunningham or Pablo Banchero. What do I mean by that? They go to a franchise that's atrocious when they get drafted, And you can almost guarantee the first 2 to 3 years of your career are trying to build out of the cellar. No, not for Cooper Flagg. No, he gets the exact opposite. He gets a franchise, though there are a lot of question marks around what their general manager is doing. He goes to a franchise that's won a championship, was in the play-in tournament last year, has 2 presumably at some point balloted Hall of Famers. I can't guarantee. I don't know when Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving will probably get in, but I think when all is said and done, you'll look at both of their careers Hall of Fame worthy, especially their numbers. Now, the best player in the draft, the presumed first overall pick for not the last 3 months, not the last year, the last 3 years. You've been waiting for this moment, and it goes through for Coop and his family. He gets picked first overall and also goes to a really good franchise. So Cooper Flagg goes to the Dallas Mavericks first overall. Here's what the rest of the draft looked like in the first round. And yesterday, if you were listening to the show, I was trying to figure out the stats on the Brooklyn Nets, okay? And sure enough, I was right. I was just wrong in the way I said it. Last night, the Brooklyn Nets had 5 first-round picks, okay? They had the 8th pick, the 19th pick, the 22nd pick, which, if you're looking online or even you were watching the draft live last night, is super trippy because it still has it as the Hawks pick. And last night, the Hawks picked the player the Nets wanted at 22, and it's just a trade. We'll get into that in a moment. And then they had the 26th and 27th first round pick. It's not often a team drafts 5 times in the first round, especially in basketball. It's not often a team drafts 5 times in a draft in basketball. There's only 2 rounds, 60 picks, but Brooklyn's got 5 of them, and we'll see what they can do to continue to rebuild that roster. That was one of a few headlines from the draft last night as you take a look at the first round completed. 2 Duke players in the top 5, 3 Duke players in the top 10. How about New Jersey? Shout out New Jersey and Rutgers University, 2 players in the top 5. We talked about this yesterday. Dylan Harper, second overall pick to the Spurs, and Ace Bailey, 5th overall pick to Utah. In terms of the Rutgers players, I think great situation for Dylan Harper. You're going to go join Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle, the last 2 rookies of the year in the league. And you are clearly coming in at the right time with San Antonio. Wemby got hurt last year, so you didn't really get to see if that thing could come into fruition. Castle, elite player. And now you add Dylan Harper. That's 3 top 4 picks in the last 3 years for San Antonio. And a prime example of showing you how you could be really bad at picking high, or it could change your franchise. And it looks like it could be in the process of changing the franchise for the Spurs. Ace Bailey to Utah. He joins a 2nd first-round pick for Utah. That would be the 18th overall pick. Walter Payton Jr., the guard from Florida, helped them win the national championship. With transfer from Iona, played for Rick Pitino. So 2, I thought, really good first-round picks for the Utah Jazz. After that, here are some numbers on the draft last night. Okay, wild. 11, and you could probably see it on your screen because it says it next to the name of the player drafted. 11 of the 30 picks in the first round last night were true to the team. What do I mean by that? Like, the first overall pick was the Dallas Mavericks. It's been the Dallas Mavericks, and it stayed the Dallas Mavericks. Okay. Of 30 picks in the first round last night, 11 picks were true to form. That means 19 picks in the first round last night had been traded at least one time. Okay. So 19 picks traded at least one time. Okay. 5 of those 19 were traded twice. Okay. That's how wild the NBA off-season gets. That's how wild free agency is in the NBA. They're pick swapping picks in like 2029. It's crazy. Like, if the 76ers would have finished with the 7th overall pick this year, it would have been OKC's because of the Paul George trade 4 years ago. It is the world you're in the NBA now, is half the first round draft picks will wear a hat and have their name called by a team that they won't even entertain being with. And I find that fascinating about the NBA. Why can't we just do what everyone else does? The Miami Dolphins have traded this pick to the New York Giants. The Miami Dolphins are now on the clock. The Miami Dolphins select X player. Instead, in the basketball world, it's like the Atlanta Hawks the Dallas Mavericks select Trae Young. The Atlanta Hawks select Luka Doncic. 5 minutes later, Luka Doncic has now been traded to the Atlanta Hawks for Trae Young. Yes, we all know that. It's been known. Why can't we just trade them before the pick? Nothing bothers me more than this in the National Basketball Association. I digress. 4 of those picks were traded during the draft last night. Finally, the French Basketball Federation, elite night last night. 3 French-born players were drafted in the first round yesterday. They were kind of bunched up too, which I found really interesting. One at number 12, Noah Nsengu. One at number 16, Yang Hansen. He's from China. Oh, excuse me. Wrong. Read that wrong. Number 17, Joanne Beringer. And then finally from France, Andrew, because you just said that, number 19, Nolan Torre. All right. Then you had a Chinaman, Joanne Yang Hansen, 16th overall. So 2 back-to-back 16 and 17 international players. Between pick number 12 and pick number 28, all 6 international players were drafted. 3 from France, 1 from China, 1 from Lithuania, 1 from Spain, 1 from Israel. The one from Lithuania, interesting story, was a professional for 1 or 2 years, then went to Illinois last year, like University of, and now has been drafted native of Lithuania. Did you know there have been 42 draft picks that were French-born players in the history of the NBA? 42. Probably the best represented nation outside the United States of America in the National Basketball Association. You'll come back tonight with the second and final round of that NBA draft. My 2 favorite picks in this draft. Oh, funny that you should ask. I'll let you know right now. I don't think I'm good enough. Oh, that's not it. Let's see if I can get it. Number 2.
Ryan Leach.
Exactly who I just talked about. Kasparis Jakunčionis. Okay. He was, and I'm going to get this right for the people, the 20th overall pick to the Miami Heat. Is he one of my 2 favorite picks from the first round? Because he played professional basketball. I think he played for like FC Barcelona or something like that. He then went to Illinois and was really good at Illinois. So though he is still by nature 20 years old, he has so much basketball experience. On top of that, there were only 2 players in the NCAA last year to score or average over 15 points per game, 5 or more rebounds per game, and 4 or more assists per game. And that was first overall pick Cooper Flagg and 20th overall pick Kasparis Jakunčionis. So 1, the Miami Heat have just been good at international development in general. Great franchise. But 2 or 3, excuse me, this dude has proven success. You just might not have known about it because he was at the University of Illinois. My number one favorite pick from the first round yesterday is Walter Clayton Jr., 18th overall to what was the Washington Wizards, but is now the Utah Jazz. to team up with Ace Bailey and the young core that Utah is looking to build around. Walter Clayton Jr. last year for Florida averaged 18.3 points per game, 45% field goal shooting, and 39% from beyond the arc. He was also the finals MVP, and he was a knockdown, bona fide, insert adjective, most valuable player, stud dude for that Florida team on their run to the finals. We're going to run to a commercial break real quick. When we come back, quick note on baseball, and we get you out of here on the Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. Back after this.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. Broadcasting live on YouTube and X. It's a Thursday, June 26th. I'm Andrew Romanella. Few minutes left in the show. Primary NBA draft conversation in the first half of this show. If you missed it, Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, or youtube.com/12OZ Sports. Just subscribe. It'll make your life easier. I read an article yesterday on the interwebs, and I had to bring it up today, and I think it might be our primary talk for Friday, but I was interested in it because we talked about Paul Skeens last week when I was on location in Long Beach Island, and I was talking about how good Paul Skeens has been this year, but how bad the Pirates have been, and how it's a microcosm of a Major League Baseball issue because 10 of the 32 teams or whatever cannot even come close to affording to keep Paul Skeens. Or if you can't fully afford to keep Paul Skeens, can't afford enough to make the team good enough around him to even capitalize on while he is there. Well, someone wrote an article yesterday on this scenario of Paul Skeens being 4-6, but with a 1.85 ERA, which is actually asinine. And everyone says, oh, well, wins and losses in pitching don't matter. Wins and losses in pitching don't matter. And I don't know if that's true or not. And we don't have enough time on today's show to fully debate it, but I found this statistic and I found it interesting. In 2024, 41.3% of all decisions were given to relievers in Major League Baseball. 100 years ago, in 1924, that number was 18%. So in 100 years, and I'd probably take it even deeper, it's probably been the last 15, but based on the statistic, in the last 100 years, Major League Baseball has changed so dramatically that almost half of the decisions, win-loss-wise, from a pitcher are given to a reliever, which is like the last thing that was ever heard of when the invention of this game even happened. Okay? And it was a different angle on the conversation of, well, does wins and losses for a pitcher matter then? Because, I mean, if more of them are going to relievers who presumably are coming in to hold leads or keep a game tight or whatever, if you get a win, kind of look at it differently. It's like, Do wins and losses not matter as much for a pitcher, or do wins and losses matter more for relief pitchers than they do starting pitchers? Or does an organization need wins and losses to matter more to the relief core than the starting core? That's just been the evolution of the game. But when I saw that number, I was like, damn, 41% of decisions are given to the reliever, yet we design the entire thing around the starter. Kind of crazy, right? Just goes to show you the shift in baseball. We'll delve into that more tomorrow. We talk a little bit more baseball. I got to run right now, though, ladies and gentlemen, because I got a tea time, and we got to go dominate the links with the people. Andrew Romanella, The Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. Hope you enjoyed it. Back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. You have an electric Thursday. Peace.
Thank you for listening.